Hey y'all, it's been a while since I've done one of these. This is a session with Wells working on our little bank jump that we have here. And, excuse me, I'm using the target to ask him to follow me. Sometimes Wells isn't super sure of himself up and down the bank. He is usually pretty willing to try, and it looks like I'm working with him at Liberty. I am holding a lead rope, but it's not attached to him. And something I really like about working like this, especially with this bank where it kind of has different options for where to go on or off, is it gives him a lot of choice, and it's easy to kind of scale what I'm asking. And you could see him kind of like looking away and being a little hesitant. And it's hard to say if he's doing that because it's physically challenging or even possibly painful, or if he's nervous for a different reason. The farm that's to my back in this video, all the horses are a little wary of going over that direction. And so here he is solving the problem the way that he wants to, which is totally fine. And I'm asking him to step down. What's interesting is he stepped down the quite large side of the bank, like right when we walked up. And then now he doesn't even want to step down the small side. I'm trying to get a little momentum to go up the big side, and he's always thinking about it. And I'm rewarding all the tries. He has gone up and down this bank at multiple points. But where I got him from, I actually don't really know a whole lot about his history. I try to be really careful about not coercing him. And even with positive reinforcement, you can still be a little more coercing than you're even meaning to be. And a lot of that's like holdover from how I started riding and started working with horses. So I'm working real hard here to get him to come up the bank. And I'm offering him a different spot. And the fact that he's still engaging with me and not just wandering off, because we're in a pretty, like, I don't know, I'd say like a 4 or 5 acre field with plenty of grass options. So the fact that he's still engaging with me is great. And he's thinking about it. He's trying. He has a really good work ethic. Like he does want to try. He does want to please. So when he does say no thank you, I try really hard to respect that. I don't always, because again, old habits, but I do my best. And so here I'm trying to build a little momentum. My dog's trying to help, show him what to do. And at this point, I kind of wish that I had done something else with him to give him a reward, because I think we've gone so long without a reward. You can see he's grazing there. I'm kind of possibly starting to lose interest. So I'm trying to offer him a little bit easier spot. Here we go. We got a foot on. Which honestly is more challenging than him just walking up it, is to like isolate one leg and stick it up there. But without that momentum, it can be a little challenging. And he's looking away, feeling not so sure, maybe a little insecure, either physically or emotionally, mentally, whatever. And there he goes down. What's interesting to me is that most of the time going up is easier for him, but today he is a lot more willing to go down the bank than up the bank, which is just interesting. It's something to take note of. Anytime there's a change like that, it can kind of clue you in that there might be some type of like soreness going on somewhere, or, you know, possibly the last time he went up, he tweaked something or something didn't feel great, so he's remembering that. I mean, it's hard to say, but it at least gives you a clue to kind of be aware. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. He really wants that target. And then he gave me a nice little try there. He's so good at trying. To me, and this might be a little over anthropomorphizing, but to me it seems like he wants to do all the things that I ask, but he's not super confident in his body's own ability to either balance itself or remain safe doing whatever activities they are. Whereas Finnick, my other horse, he will kind of test the bounds of his body's ability to stay upright, which is really fun. And he does it in a way that still keeps himself safe. And I think that overall makes him for a less injury-prone horse. But again, Wells is a little bit older. He came to me at 12 or 13 years old, and I don't really know his history, only that he was at a track to be a pony horse. And typically those horses aren't ridden with a lot of finesse because their job is to remain a steady mount while the outrider is doing whatever they need to do to keep the racehorses and the jockeys safe. So that usually entails a lot of tack, a lot of restrictive tack, so that the rider isn't having to do a whole lot to manage the horse they're on, so they can focus more on keeping the jockeys and the racehorses safe. So I think part of that is why it's, I mean, no matter what his background was, I think doing Liberty work and work like this where he can absolutely choose to walk away is super helpful. And so I walked over and tried to re-engage. I use like a head up cue. I just say head up, and when they do, I'll mark and reinforce to kind of get them back. Asking him to come up the bank again, and he decides to take the scenic route, which again is fine. And I'm hoping he'll step up this really low spot because it's really not that high. Oh, and there he does it. And that seems like nothing, but it was such a big win in this moment just because he had been so hesitant, and the fact that he stuck with me even though he was completely at liberty and there is grass. You know, it's kind of dead winter grass, but he has lots of other options to do with his time in this moment. And so I gave him a couple big old handfuls. And when I'm working at liberty in a large area like this, where he can kind of wander off with the other horses that are hanging out here, I'm a little bit more comfortable pushing the time frame of my sessions, knowing that when he's done, he'll just walk off. So, you know, if I was working in a small area where he really didn't have a way to get away from me or leave the session or go do something else, I would probably have stopped it a little shorter. But since he's still willing to try and kind of work at it, I'm willing to stay here with him and and do that as well. And so here he walks off, so I stay with him, and get his attention back, and he actually picked up a trot. I thought we were gonna go off the bank, and he still said no thank you. But then he hops down it really nicely, which is a really big win. And he says, I'm done. And so we are done.